Hello, everybody. My name is Tendy, Lindsay, Vice Chair of our new CTSI Race and Equalities Working Group. Welcome, and I hope you've enjoyed the Symposium 2020. And don't forget, it's also Black History Month. So Black History Month is dedicated to celebrating African history. Now, here at CTSI, in recognition of this, we've decided to hold this session. Next slide. So during this session, we're going to discuss why is CTSI taking this action on race and equalities matters now? What is CTSI going to do to improve race and equalities? CTSI race and equalities working groups, which we're going to form, and how will CTSI ensure that the work on race and equalities is actually going ahead? So, firstly, I'd like to introduce myself properly. So my name is Tendy, and I've met most people in trading standards through our training and through the branch meetings and food groups and so forth. I've been so lucky and feel privileged to have worked with CTSI for the last 25 years. And I'm truly dedicated to my profession as a trading standards officer. I've also been lucky to do this work across here in the United Kingdom, in Europe with the FSA, doing food work. And I also went to work in the Caribbean, in St. Lucia, working with the Consumer Affairs Department over there. And throughout all this work, there's always been one aim. It's always been about consumer protection and business protection as well. So despite all the recent negative press around race relations, I found myself really, really dedicated and really inspired by persons like Marcus Rashford, a young Black British man, a football player for that matter, who took it upon himself to commit himself to further work in regards to child poverty, ensuring that young children had food. So in regards to this, I reached out to our CEO to say, what can we do as an institute ourselves in terms of improving equalities, be it poverty, but at the time being, we're going to concentrate on issues to do with race relations. Next slide. So CTSI decided to do more work on equalities, as I've recently mentioned, because we are a membership organisation. So following the death of George Floyd, well, really the murder of George Floyd and other Black persons in America, we've decided to really put this as a key issue as trading standards, because we want to safeguard our businesses, we want to safeguard our consumers, and want to ensure that there is a level playing field for all businesses, paying businesses, all businesses. Next slide. So as I said, the murder of George Floyd and other Black men and women really reminded us that there is a structural racism that exists within our structures. And it's for us, all of us, to really tackle these issues and ensure that there's a level playing field for all our officers and all our businesses. So we look at the criminal justice system as it is here in the United Kingdom and in America, and we know for sure that it does affect our young Black men more than their counterparts. So they're more likely to get stopped. They're more likely, if they are in trouble, they're more likely to get custodial sentences. So next slide, please. So even when we look at the health with the pandemic going on at the moment, we were aware that in the NHS that a lot of Black staff were dying during the pandemic. And there's been research to find as to what the reasons are. But we now know, obviously, that people of colour are more likely to die during this pandemic than their white counterparts. We go back to the education. Again, we see that young Black men don't really perform that well in schools. So again, those are the issues we'll be looking at in terms of how can we improve this within our workers' trading standards ourselves. Next slide, please. So going back to trading standards in terms of the work that we do as TS Business and Advice and Enforcement, there's research which has been done by the Federation of Small Businesses, which shows that ethnic minority businesses contribute a staggering £25 billion to the UK economy. And this was in 2018. But many of these businesses are being held back by different barriers. And we're all quite aware that when we're doing our enforcement work, we have got enforcement concordats, we've got enforcement procedure, but somehow it appears that we're not reaching out enough to them in terms of compliance advice and so forth. So we are hoping that we can present better opportunities in the future and work better with our BAME businesses. Next slide, please. So what have we decided to do at CTSI to work on the situation, to improve the situation? So one of the things we will be doing to look at this whole thing in depth and actually try to find a better way of coming up with a solution is we're going to be appointing a lead officer on race and equalities. Now, it's not just about race, it's about all matters to do with equalities, including matters to do with disability, women's rights, including sexuality rights, all sorts of rights. We're going to be looking at this particular issue. So our lead officer hopefully will be a person who has a wealth of experience with regards to trading standards and how we can improve our enforcement work and how we can work better with the communities and so forth. So look out, that role will soon be advertised. And we're also going to be promoting to have, as part of our editing team for CTSI, BAME members to come and contribute so we can have more articles which are coming out from our BAME colleagues in our journals and on our other communications that we have. And with regards to the CTSI board, we've got vacancies coming up shortly, hopefully, and we're hoping that we can attract persons of colour to come and apply, because we're quite aware that on our board, we don't have representation so far. And this will sit down into council and all other departments that we have at CTSI. So we're going to be looking at how we advertise and how we're being more inclusive in terms of how we're doing our interviews, advertisements, and so forth. And another great thing which has happened, which I think is absolutely wonderful as well, is the College of Fellows are going to sponsor me to help to work along with whoever the lead officer is and other various regions in terms of how we can do this work better with CTSI in terms of improving our race and equalities. Next slide, please. So what will CTSI do to ensure that there is improvement? Because it's okay to talk about what we're going to do and all these wonderful things. So the most wonderful thing that is happening, and we're going to council on the 14th of May, sorry, 14th of October rather. And at that council meeting, we are going to formally establish the newly formed Race and Equalities Working Group. So this will be an arm of council. And the role of this Equalities Working Group is to oversee all the work on equalities. So we do hope that council will give us permission and authorization to have the power to ensure that this work is being carried out, all the different strategies that we have in place. And part of this group include our chair of our institute, Rob Taylor. We also have Wendy, who's our deputy chair at the moment, and we have Dave Riley, our outgoing chair. We've also got other various members from Ireland to Scotland, to Wales, to London that are part of the group. But there's more information will come up as to who the members are on our website, so do look out for that. And also one of the other things we're going to do to make sure that, including we're going to make sure that we all receive training on unconscious biasness. And this is important to make sure that when we do make our decisions, whether it be recruitment, whether it be our projects that we do, that we all have an awareness in terms of how we're arriving or how we're making those decisions without really being compromised by our biasness. And also, next slide, please. In terms of engaging with our members, so you might say, well, how am I supposed to get hold of, the people at CTSI or the working group and so forth? We have an email address right here, allequalities@tsi.org.uk. So please do feel free to send in any information you might have, whether it be suggestions or any concerns you may have. And it doesn't matter how small you may think, whatever's affecting you, do get in touch and feel free that your matter will be handled in confidence. Next slide, please. So I go back to where we began. This month, as we all know, it's October and we celebrate Black History Month. And hopefully with our comms team at CTSI, we'll be sending out some little links in terms of how we can, reach out to different events that are happening throughout the Black History Month. So look out for the tweet messages that will be coming out. Next. So what I hope is that all of us together, that we can work positively together at CTSI with our members, with council, with College of Fellows, with the board, with the exec, and hopefully that CTSI as an enforcement organisation and membership organisation for enforcement officers, we can actually become more positive in how we deliver our services and how we work with consumers, how we protect our consumers and how we protect our businesses and how we work with our businesses and other stakeholders. Next. So if you have any questions regarding what I've just talked about or anything you're not sure about regarding the working group or what's going to happen in the regions, feel free again to send all your emails or your questions to allequalities@tsi.org.uk. Next. So one of the things we're going to have as part of our ongoing strategy to ensure that we all understand in terms of how we can all move this work positively is that we're going to ensure that everybody in every local authority, hopefully we get training with regards to unconscious biasness. And so look out for this training in the future, hopefully should be there. But I must say, however, if you do have it at a local level, do take part in terms of training with unconscious biasness. And we have a short video coming up in a minute, which you can watch again. It's only a few minutes long, so take time to watch that, and we can learn from that. Next, please. So the video is now going to play, and I would like to, at the end of this, play the video and do watch it. And next slide, please, Kareem. Just to say thank you all very much. Again, if you have any questions regarding this presentation or about equalities, please do get in touch with me or email me at the address allequalities@tsi.org.uk. And thank you very much. Enjoy Black History Month, and I hope you've enjoyed Symposium 2020. Thank you.